T-Mobile relinquishing
yeah.
their millimeter wave
Let's talk
licenses.
about it.
Ooh, okay. T-Mobile
Real
millimeter
quick.
wave it is.
What millimeter wave? I mean, like, have they deployed anywhere? Are they
Well,
gonna just do?
That's
they're
the
just
point.
gonna-
Is they relinquished their licenses.
Exactly. Yeah, that's my point. They just
This last story for us, and then we'll take this one home. T-Mobile relinquishes millimeter wave spectrum, calling it not feasible to deploy. Basically, taking their millimeter wave licenses, using it in only some venues or stadiums, they're giving it all back to the FCC. I think this move in and of itself, that process, is unprecedented. I've never seen it or heard of it, where a company that paid for spectrum licenses, even before the time is up, has been willing to just give it back to the FCC and then say to them, we won't be able to build this within the time frame that you've set there. So they're giving the millimeter wave back to the FCC. They're retaining it in just a few venues, like literally a few city blocks. So like SoFi Stadium in LA, and I'm guessing some other, handful of larger markets with their venues. They're out on millimeter wave for now, but I mentioned this. I responded to someone on Twitter. I forget who it was. I think it was Kenny, maybe, on the X platform. He asked me what I thought about this. I think this is a signal that T-Mobile's not going to do this anytime soon, but they're willing to move on from it for now, but then come back to it and probably have to buy it back later. I just don't see a future for any mobile network operator without the ability to utilize millimeter wave as a tool. It's the ultimate in capacity. You simply cannot do it with millimeter wave, with midband alone. There are situations, moments, scenarios where you need the millimeter wave. There just simply isn't enough bandwidth on midband. We're going to need several auctions to properly support the midband portfolios of these companies. Millimeter wave is going to be the only way to keep those midband channels free and clear from the congestion of 50,000, 100,000 seat venues. And I'm also going to throw in fixed wireless access. Like, let's not kid ourselves. Verizon's going to go from 4 million to 8 million fixed wireless subs in the next handful of years. T-Mobile's going from 6 million to 12 million. AT&T is probably at 500,000 right now, and they're probably going to double that every year for the next 5 years as they move folks from DSL. You're going to put all that on your midband channels? You only have 2 of them that are worth a damn. N41's got 2, N77's got 2. Where is the rest of this midband that's going to save the day? N66 at 20 megahertz is going to save you? Are we serious?
Yeah, let's not forget that they're already getting their hand slapped for operating their 2.5 out of band too. So
my concern is that there's going to be many situations where the networks are congested. And there's going to be people saying my phone is a dead weight whenever I go to some place where there's heavy traffic. Now, for the folks that live out in Boone's Farm, this conversation isn't about that or about that situation. It's about the places where you have heavy home internet usage and places where you have fixed wireless access users growing in their annual usage patterns and subscriber growth. And you have venues with a lot of people. So I think all of that is part of this. And I think the only way to properly do this is millimeter wave solutions. I think what Verizon is doing with the MDU solution is going to be really, really cool and really, really good for their revenues. Like, what if they get a penetration rate of 25% with those MDU solutions? Isn't that worth it to invest in the millimeter wave in those solutions? I mean, isn't it an offload anyways? Like, you're doing 2 with 1, right?
right. I think the bigger thing here is that it shows that T-Mobile's not this 5G innovator that they claim that they are. When they're just willing to give up spectrum.
Well, they're willing to play in the midband space. I don't know where they stand with CRAN. I don't know where I now know where they stand with the millimeter wave. They're out.
Oh, I can tell you about CRAN. So the only way, okay, that T-Mobile is going to survive this is they have to densify the living crap out of their network, like equal to Verizon or better. That is the only way that they can have offloaded capacity to support their network. There is no other way. Period.
They're going to need another swath of bandwidth like they have with N41.
Good luck getting it.
You get what I'm saying, Zero Cool? And I say the same thing about Verizon too. They're going to need more spectrum. I don't think N77 is going to be this decade-long bulletproof solution. I know that Verizon is going to densify with small cells. I know they're putting C-band on small cells. They have CBRS. Those are great tools. But there's just no way that 160 national is going to be the end-all be-all, and that's why they're investing in millimeter wave.
Right. Yeah. I mean, millimeter wave is good when is great when you have it, when it's around. But in T-Mobile's case, the only way for them to compete is to densify. If they do not densify to the level of Verizon or higher, they will lose.
Yeah, the network nerd brings up a good point. This article is specifically just in regards to their 28 gigahertz licenses. They still have 24, 39 in some cases, and 47. But still, you're you're giving up valuable spectrum. That the
28 gigahertz, they've got 39, right?
Yeah, and 24 in certain markets.
Okay, so if you're out on the 28, then how do you feel about the 39? It's a higher frequency.
Yeah, I mean the rumor mill has been that T-Mobile's really going to go in on 24 gigahertz, but that has yet to come to fruition. We haven't
How much
seen it.
bandwidth in that for them?
If you have all the licenses, I believe it's about 500 megahertz.
And then the
So
28 has thousands, doesn't it?
the 28 gigahertz band is 850 megahertz. Don't quote me on that. So it basically they're, I don't know. Giving up spectrum is never a good option. I don't think T-Mobile wanted to do the work in order to meet the basic requirements to retain the license.
In this particular frequency.
Right. I know a lot of WISPs who would want to get their hands on that
Sure.
spectrum, and they could do wonders with it.
Sure. Different set of rules, different ball game.
Is it though? I mean, you're
Well,
still
just because of CPE, like you can get antennas out there, and like T-Mobile doesn't have that solution. They don't have that receiver set up the LV65 from Verizon. They don't have a future in which they're experimenting with those gateways. We haven't seen it.
we could have a future, but they don't invest.
They don't.
They don't innovate.
No, we haven't seen that yet.
So I just want to get that point across.
I
T-Mobile's
want to
not
talk
this
about
magic
this a little bit.
company.
Go ahead, Moose.
I am very disappointed in T-Mobile. Okay. They clearly are not ran efficiently in the sense of long-term vision. Okay. If I have spectrum, I would never relinquish it. Never. Because
Agree.
we know how difficult it is already for this FCC to open up the auctions, right?
I agree.
Right. So why would you ever want to give back spectrum?